Hey, welcome back to my channel. Hey, we have another build today. Now, I wasn't going to actually record this one, but as I started getting further and further into it, I'm thinking, well, there's actually some content here. So let me share with you where I'm at so far and where we're going. Welcome back to my workshop slash storage shed, and look at today's build. It is really kind of pretty cool, but I'll let you be the judge of that. All right, so the build started with a request to do a breakfast bar, probably 40 inches off. And so we head over to Lowe's and find ourselves an 8-foot piece of butcher block. And this is kind of what we ended up with. Now, the 8-foot piece of butcher block is also 25 inches wide. Now, this breakfast bar is only going to be 6 foot in length, maybe a little over 6 foot, and about 20 inches deep, which is the most we could afford to put in there. So I had some excess. So the first thing that I did was I ripped along that line right there with my table saw. Actually does a pretty good job. And since this is going to be the back edge over here, I didn't even bother cleaning up the saw marks. I did clean up the edge a little bit just to, I don't even need to do that because I'm going to put a backsplash on here. I don't have to round off this right-hand corner because this is going up against the wall, but my corner down here is going to be seen. So I just took my jigsaw, rounded it over. That's the back wall. So this is the way it's going to be. Now, I already hit it with some natural wood stain and I'm on my second coat of poly. There's nothing really unique in this project so far. However, this is 1 3/4 thick, and I wanted to use the same wood for my backsplash. But the problem is I didn't want my backsplash coming out here 1 3/4. So, since this is 25 inches wide, I only cut 20 inches. It left me with a 5-inch piece of leftover wood right here. So all I did was I took that piece I cut off and brought it down to 3 inches. I then ran that through and cut it to a 1/2 inch thin. I rounded over the edges, and this is going to be my backsplash. So now I've got my backsplashes that are 1/2 inch thick that will run along this back edge against the wall. All right, so that's where we're at with this part of the project. But where it gets interesting is, what did you do with the rest of the piece that you cut off down here? Remember, it was an 8-foot length piece, and yeah. So let's take a look at that. I hate to have wasted wood. So what did we do? Well, there's the piece that we cut off after we trimmed off the 8-foot. That's my leftover. And then along the long edge, that was 5.5 inches that I cut for backsplash down to 3.5. Well, that left me with these strips of wood. So here's what I'm thinking. Take these pieces, notch them out to make a stand, something like that. So we do 1/2 notch here, 1/2 notch here, boom, make a stand. Then we need a post to put here, to make that into yet a secondary table. Okay, what am I going to use for a post? I could use a 4x4, but that's kind of blasé. So here's what I'm thinking. I take a quick journey over to my pile of wood, and I'm looking for a piece of wood, maybe something like that. One that's not too rotted, that I think I could clean up. Okay, let's try that. Piece of wood. So this is my piece of wood after grinding it, and I want to put it on down here, up to here, and then put that top on it. Well, all right, here we are making progress. So we notch this out on the table saw. That sits flush, rounded all four corners. So I'm going to drill a hole through the middle of this, and then I'm going to have this piece here where I have my rounded corners coming out here. And then I made a smaller piece here so that when I put the base on, I'll then take my grinder, smooth all of that out to make it look like it's one piece, going all the way up to what will become the top. Thinking epoxied here, epoxied here, epoxied here, and then drove a bunch of screws through, joining these two together, and then we've got a giant 6-inch lug holding everything together, epoxy everywhere. This is not going anywhere. Now the only other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to drill some holes here, 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 and here, and put another screw in down here. Yeah, this thing is going to be solid as a rock. All right, let's move on. All right, so my dilemma was, since this is not a straight stick, I have the table upside down now, how do you find the legs squared with what will be the top? So the way that I came up with it is take a piece of string, dangle it off the end of the leg, and see how far it is from the edge of the table. Do that on all four corners. Try and get them even as you move your centerpiece around. So that's about as good as it's going to get. I'm about a 1/2 inch when this thing stops swinging in the wind. And that should be centered. So, okay, let's glue it and make this thing solid. And we shall then proceed to doing some grinding. All right, we're getting there. All right, we've reached the fun part of this build. Here you can see that we've got the table upside down. We've got these boards that need to be grinded down using my grinder to give this a little bit more smoother edge. And here are the tools that we'll be using for this part of the project. All right, like I said, we're going to use our grinder. And I'm probably going to stick with this bad boy right here. I think that'll do the job. Once we get done taking some chunks of wood out with this bad boy, we'll hit it with this sander here, and then I'll break out my regular orbital sander. But if things get difficult on me, I'll use this thing. This chomps wood like there's no tomorrow. However, not like this. Now I must give a little bit of warning here. Each of these are, dare I say, dangerous, and if you've never done it before, then tread lightly, move slowly. But essentially we're going to take this grinding wheel, put it on my grinder, and then we're going to kind of grind all this down to give me some sort of a smooth transition between leg and tabletop. Once again, this is upside down, and we're going to try and bring some form of finish to this. All right, let's give it a go. We'll start with this one, and hopefully this is going to get the job done. So let's swap out that for that. All right, so there's the top. Let's turn this thing over and rinse and repeat. All right, this is what we live for. All right, I feel like this thing would be right at home in a tree fort. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Tell me what you guys think. What do you folks think? Is this like another bench story? Which, by the way, if you don't know the story of the ugly chair, well, let me just give you a reminder, because she's still there. That was another project that had a great plan, but didn't turn out so well. And you can watch that video as well. Just look for the ugly chair. And I'll tell you the story about that one. Those who like modern are gonna cringe. Those who don't mind a little country, giddy up. Well, all right, this is what I had envisioned. Obviously, this is set up outdoors. I didn't put a finish on it for outdoors, though I could have. But just so that we can see just what the vision concluded. And yeah, I got myself a pub height table. Why do they call it pub height? Well, it's the height of a table you'd find at your favorite pub. So find your favorite pub drink and enjoy the pub height table. Now, is this a table that you would envision in your house? Leave comments below. Is it too Fred Flintstone-ish table? A little too raw? Leave comments below. Tell me what you think of this little project. I appreciate it. Now let's find its final resting place, the pub height table.